Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube channel video. You're here with your channel host GBHL James, back on his own again for another Speak Friendly question, and we're up to Speak Friendly question number 61. Apologies that I'm here on my own. Jamie and I did manage to get together this week, but we were filming another week's worth of sourcebook review content, and we did get around to doing Speak Friendly question. It was a little bit early in the week as well. We wanted to allow you guys to get a few more questions in, and you guys have certainly done that. Can I just say that a big massive thank you from us for all the massive, huge support for Speak Friendly question over the last few weeks. We've been getting tons and tons of questions. Now, I'm not sure how many of those are results of triple and double loops, which of course Jamie absolutely loves. So keep it up, guys. That's all I can say. We love being able to do this show and hopefully give you guys something to get a lot of painting done to. And you've had tons and tons of great content lately. Loads of battle reports. You've got the Lord of the Rings campaign. The Palantir is back as well with Tom Harrison, which is brilliant. Great to see him back. So there's lots and lots going on. So I think I will get straight into this. I'll have to be reasonably quiet. Jane's gone up to bed. I'm here in my Batman gym jams, and we're going to York tomorrow to do some more recce for the wedding, which is of course only 3 months away now. So very exciting times. Really looking forward to it. And I'll also be picking up some of the prizes for the Desolation of Stockport 2015. It'd be really good to actually hear in the comment section which of you guys are actually going to be coming to that event. We're hoping that it's going to be another record-breaking event. So more details of that are of course on the Facebook group. So go and check that out because I can't wait to see you all there. Okay, so the first question of this week is from Josh Bejont. He's put, "Hey guys, hope you're both having a great week." Well, I think Jamie has had a reasonably busy week, but he had a few different days off. We couldn't meet up on Thursday because it's been half term, which of course at Legoland is very busy time. But I do know that he got some good days off. I've been absolutely rammed, but I'm not complaining. It's a good place to be. You put here, if you could replace Frodo with anyone or anything in Middle-earth, who would it be? That's a big question. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean replace Frodo? You mean in terms of like who should have the ring, who should try and take the ring to Mordor, or if you could remove him completely as a character? I mean, I like the fact, I think the message is that it doesn't matter sort of how small or insignificant you think you are, that great deeds can still be done. You know, and I think that's the whole message, isn't it? That, you know, there are all these great warriors in Middle-earth that are capable of fantastic deeds, but ultimately it's about the courage and bravery of the small and insignificant. So I think he does a good role. So yeah, I'm not really sure what you get at. Maybe delve a little bit more into that question. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean like replace Frodo? You mean like in terms of replace him as the journey for the ring? Be good to hear what you mean. So, but thanks very much for your question. Make sure you ask a question next week. Next up, we've got Bradley Cobden. He's put, "Hey guys, sadly I will not be able to make it to Desolation of Stockport 2015. Well, that's very sad news, Bradley. Of course, we will try and do another Stockport event later on in the year. I think that we've already got that booked in. So keep an eye out for that because it'd be great to see you back there. You put that you're going to be in India at the time. Oh, that'd be amazing. That'd be a really good experience. Have a good time. You put, "My question is, what is the best thing to use with mounted 3 hunters? Maybe Army of the Dead, Gondor, or Rohan?" Okay, so mounted 3 hunters. Well, you can't mount Gimli, so I guess you mean mounted Aragorn and mounted Legolas. So it's always a good idea if you've got a all-hero army, a good all-hero army, of course, to get a little bit of cast blinding light in there. So maybe a mounted Gandalf the Grey would be a good way to go to protect them from bow fire. You could, of course, if you're going for fluff and you go, some of your suggestions there would be great. I love the idea of sort of 3 hunters with the Riders of Rohan and Éomer. I think that's pretty cool thing to do. I think there's a battle report, me versus World Champion, where I bring Riders of Rohan, Éomer, Knight of the Pelennor, and the 3 hunters, I believe. So go and check that out. Of course, I am going to say Rohan. I'm going to say Rohan, but it would work, with Army of the Dead, Gondor might be a little bit different. I know that they're there in the end, but Army of the Dead or Rohan seems to make sense, or maybe even with the Grey Company, of course, because the Grey Company do come down from the north in the books. But all sounds really good. Keep us up to date with your progress, Bradley. Looking forward to hearing about that. Okay, so next up we've got Ross Brown, and Ross Brown has put, I decided to pick up Lothlorien because Rumil and the Guard of the Galadrim Court are my favourite models. Yeah, also really good profiles as well. Rumil is really good, and Guard of the Galadrim Court are fantastic. And I do agree, they are nice models. You put, my question is, what guys should I get first? Well, if those are your favourite models, get Rumil and Guard of the Galadrim Court. I think a Guard of the Galadrim Court is still available. I think it's still available in fine cast, aren't they? Tough to get hold of in metal. But yeah, well, pick up Rumil, and I would say you only need a couple of Guard of the Galadrim Court. So if you're going to go for a pure sort of Galadrim themed army, go and get yourself just some plastic Galadrim warriors. They are still available. Maybe use a local gaming store. Maybe go and use like Slayer Games or Awkward Battles to go and see. Of course, there are others available. Let's see what kind of discounts you get on plastic Galadrim. Alternatively, there'll be tons floating around on eBay, and then maybe you might want to get yourself some mounted models. If you're doing Galadrim, maybe get yourself some Stormcaller, a couple of Stormcallers. Use the Galadriel. Galadriel is good. Gets your cast blinding light in there. So yeah, lots of options, and good luck with that. The Galadrim Court and Rumil are very good. Okay, so next up we've got Akathon 39, solely responsible for increasing the number of questions dramatically in the last few weeks. Thank you very much, Akathon, we do appreciate it. You put, hi guys, I recently found out that Tolkien originally intended for the Fellowship of the Ring to be consisted of Glorfindel instead of Legolas, and Balin instead of Gimli. Then everyone else are normal. I'm curious as to what your opinions of this team up would be and how it might have caused the story to play differently. Well, I think Glorfindel would have. I don't think they would have tried to sneak into Mordor. I think that you would have ended up with more sort of battles, and it would be the battle that would be more important. Because Glorfindel's such a beast. I think him going would have been a great idea because he's meant to be one of the greatest warriors ever. I mean, Balin, Gimli, the dwarves, but there's a big difference between having an elf lord like Glorfindel along the way. It would be the same in some respects, if Elrond had gone, or, if Gil-galad had still been alive. These are very, very powerful individuals. So I think that would have had a huge impact on the way that it would have gone. I think it would have been a much more sort of bold as brass kind of operation. I think it would have been much easier to stir up support from and unite the good factions, as it were, if it hadn't been as much of a low key. I mean, Boromir, of course, is quite high, high up there, and Aragorn, but Aragorn, Strider. A lot of people aren't necessarily aware of who he is. Early days. But yeah, I think it would have been really interesting. Also, what do you reckon would happen in The Hobbit if Gandalf had stayed with the dwarves in Mirkwood, and how would it change the story? Well, it would massively change. It would have a huge impact because Sauron would really have been able to get a good foothold in the north, as it were, at Dol Guldur, because it's Gandalf who goes and discovers everything that's going on, and obviously the White Council come to save Gandalf. And if he'd have stayed with the dwarves, none of that would have happened, which means that the necromancer, as it were, could have continued to build his powers in the north. And I think that would have had a big change on what was going on. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think they would have had as many problems with the spiders or getting lost. I think that Thranduil might not have imprisoned the dwarves. That would have maybe been different. But yeah, those are the things that I can think of. That's a good question, buddy. Well done. And you've got another one here. You put, so have there been any news on SBG releases or links? No, I have not heard a single leak. I mean, we all keep talking. Surely there has to be some kind of, there has to be a Dane, there has to be a Dwarven release. And a lot of people have sort of been the fact that there weren't any dwarves, any new dwarves, any sort of Dane and Iron Hill dwarves, or any new sort of evil troops and stuff for the Battle of Five Army supplement. Some people have been maybe thinking, well, maybe that's a sign that there is going to be either another supplement or a combined sort of the Hobbit strategy battle game sort of book, maybe. I know that a lot of people are holding out in the long run for sort of Middle-earth strategy battle game. I'm not sure whether that'll ever happen, although that would be very cool. But yeah, no news. There was a little bit of news that maybe Games Workshop had extended their license by a couple of years. I can't remember where that was, but I have seen that. But it's a rumour. We know just as much as you guys. So, but of course we'll keep you up to date if we find anything out. You put, I was hoping that the new White Council would have been the beginning of a new wave of launches, but probably not. Yeah. It's not looking likely that we'll have anything immediately, which is a shame. Do you reckon some Dwarves and Guns Aboard expansions might come out later in the year? Or have we had all they're giving us with the Perry brothers leaving? Well, I don't think the Perry brothers leaving would mean that we wouldn't get any more Lord of the Rings stuff, because, you know, yes, they've been sculpting everything, but they have other people who can do that stuff, so I wouldn't say that would be the reason. I'm hopeful. I still think that they would have wanted to and would have planned to release some other miniatures. I don't think that the range that we have now is it. There might be some things that they had to sort of change, so who knows. But like I say, we don't really know. But thanks very much, Akrathon. Oh, you've got another one. This is because of the triple loop that Jamie loves so much. You put, so my last question this week will be, what are your favourite paint jobs and conversions that you yourself have done and are really proud of? I've just completed my Erebor army and I'm really happy with the way that they turned out. Also, what would you say are the worst paint jobs conversions that you've done? Thanks again for another great episode of Speak Friendly Question. Well, thank you very much. It's a shame Jamie's not here, isn't it? I do like having a good bit of banter with Jamie. In terms of my proudest paint jobs, I could probably just get one now, actually. So you all know that these are my proudest paint jobs, but it's of course my 3 hunters. So anybody who hasn't seen this, who's not been on the channel for very long, I did these when I wasn't very well, not so long ago. So that's my 3 hunters Gimli. I'm very, very, very proud of him. How he turned out, seems pretty good. I don't think he's 100% finished actually. It's these guys. So Aragorn, which was the first one of the 3 hunters that I did. So I was really chuffed with. This was really sort of me trying to take a big step up in the quality of my painting. I got a little bit of shine on him because I didn't shake up the ink properly, but I think that this is probably the best miniature I painted, is the Breaking of the Fellowship Legolas. Personally, this is probably the miniature I'm most proud of if I was going to enter one of my miniatures for a painting competition. I remember there is a big painting competition, there's been an anonymous donor, and there's cash prizes at the Desolation of Stockport 2015. There we go. So those are the paint jobs let's see if we can. Those are the paint jobs I'm most happy with. In terms of conversions, I've not really done many. Oh, focus. I've not really done many conversions. Well, the Corsair Reavers turned out okay, but you know, you're not talking about high level stuff there. Some of the hands are back to front and stuff because I was literally just cutting hands off, you know, axes and hands off of dwarves and sticking them on where appropriate. I suppose just little things like changing the poses of some of the horses for the Sons of Ale. I'm pretty chuffed with, because that has really made a big difference when you've got lots of them. In terms of paint jobs I'm least proud of, I would say that, you know, maybe some of the early Grey Company stuff, I would probably say that I was the least proud of. And I've got a lot of unfinished things. I've got a lot of things like, you know, the Riverdale Nights that need finishing. But I don't think I've done any like bad conversions or bad work, to be honest. But again, thank you very much for your question, and I'm looking forward to seeing your Erebor army as well. Make sure to maybe post it up on the Great British Hobbit League Facebook group, or even on the GBHL YouTube channel Facebook page. That would be good to see. Okay, so next up we got Ross Diggle. He's just posted up a picture on the Facebook forums of a young Hercules, for Disney's Hercules this is, and has noticed the resemblance between us, and it's not the first time that that's happened, and it's because the Disney's Hercules has got huge ears and a big nose, just like me. So what can you, and obviously that's obviously the real reason. So Ross Diggle's put, here's my question for the week: what are your top 3 films of all time? Good question. You put, yours are Leon. Yeah, that's a good movie. I used to like that movie a lot when I was a teenager. Shawshank Redemption, yeah, that's in my top 10. I'm not sure it's in my top 3. Is really tough. You put, and The Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, The Empire Strikes Back is really good for a Star Wars movie. I'm not sure though it makes my top 3. You put, adult films are not allowed, so no Indiana Jones and the Temple of Poon. I'm looking at you, Giblin. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's have a little think here. Top 3 favourite. Well, you know, yeah, I like Shawshank Redemption. That's got to be up there. Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile. The Green Mile's a very, very good movie. Gladiator was up there for a long time. Toy Story is fantastic. There's a movie called Cool Hand Luke, which I really, really, really like. Cool Hand Luke is a great movie. Obviously, the Lord of the Rings movies are all up, kind of up there. I'm not sure. Top 3 is really, really tough. Like, really tough. Like, there's just so many. There's so many. Like, I'm really into movies and cinema. I would be hard pushed to find. There's a movie called Crash, which was in my definite top 3 for a long time. It's a movie about like prejudice and stuff, and it's really good. But yeah, those are some off the top of my head. But I've got loads of movies which, you know, it depends what mood I'm in, really. I know it's a bit of a cop-out answer, but it's the same thing with music. You go through different periods of your life where certain music you can identify with a certain period of your life, or a certain mood or a certain feeling, and depending on where you are in your life, your favourite music or the kind of music you like to listen to changes all the time. And I think it's the same with movies as well. You know, there were certain movies growing up that, you know, when I was a young teenager, like, I would have said that they were definitely my favourite movies, and, you know, I think Menace to Society and Human Traffic and stuff like that, you know what I mean? The Football Factory, and, you know, they wouldn't make it into my top 50 now, you know what I mean? So it's always different, but good question, and some good choices from you as well. Interesting to see what your favourite movies are, and of course Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, good stuff. Okay, next up we've got Khalid Mubarak. Yeah, I've not seen you for a while, buddy. Where have you been? You've put, hello guys, it's been a while. It certainly has. I'm glad that you are alive. That's always our first emotion when someone's been away for a while. Good, you're not dead. That's good. You're still alive. But hoping to go to my first Lord of the Rings tournament here at a local Games Workshop on Saturday. I'll be rallying my Rohirrim to battle. Good stuff. It's good to see so many Rohan players. In fact, I'm really curious how many out there ride with Rohan. Come on, I want to see it. Who are my Romies, as Ross Diggle would say? Let me know. I want to see how many of you have got Rohan army. It's for winners. You put, my question is, if there are any new games you are considering trying. Well, of course, if you follow my hobby vlogs, you'll see that I'm trying to make some progress with the Saga stuff, just while I'm taking little breaks in between doing my Rohan. We've got Space Hulk, which we need to get out and play. When Jamie did some filming here the other night, me and Jane invited him so he could stay for dinner afterwards, and he brought a bottle of wine and having a catch up. And there's a Game of Thrones game that really needed Jamie's way of thinking to sort of suss it out. He said it was quite like Magic the Gathering, and I've got no idea what that is. So I would love to try Infinity. I'm hoping that Ross Diggle and Matty Woods will show me at some point, and that maybe Tony Moore can show me a little bit of the Batman miniatures game, or a couple of the other guys at Northwest Gaming Centre. I want to try out, I'd like to play a little bit more Warhammer 40k for a bit of fun, because it just seems a bit of a silly fun game, and a very big audience as well, so I think it'd be good for the channel. The Warhammer Bat Rep went down quite well. Wouldn't mind doing a couple more of those. So yeah, really keen to try lots of different systems and games, but always Lord of the Rings SBG first and foremost. I wouldn't mind playing a little bit more X-Wing. I want to get Jane to have a game of X-Wing actually. I think that she'd quite like that. I think. But thanks very much, Khalid. Next up we got Matt Passon. He's put, hey guys, my question this week is, what kind of themed heroes do you think I could have for a Black Root Vale themed army? Cheers. Well, that's pretty simple. So you need Dune here. You definitely need him. Any kind of fiefdoms is going to work quite well for that, unless of course you wanted to use like Arnor and then pretend and then make up names for the heroes, or just pretend that they're like captains. So you could take like Halbrad and give him a different name, but he's still Halbrad. It's Halbrad's profile, and he's leading Rangers. Although one of the issues that you'll have with that is that you'd have to take Rangers of the North. But you know, they could be Rangers of the Ringlow Vale, or whatever it is. You know, the Blackroot Vale. Sorry. So yeah, Dune here. But any of the fiefdoms, you know, you could certainly get Forlong involved in that. Army of the Dead's not too far, so King of the Dead if you wanted to. But first and foremost, Dune here. If you can get hold of him, he's very, very rare, very hard to get hold of. But good luck with that. I'm sure that'd be quite a fun army to play against. Next up we got Jason Province. He's put, hi guys, got 2 guys into the Lord of the Rings Hobbit SBG now who have never played before. Good work. I hope you're all getting out there and spreading the word and supporting your Hobbit hobby. That's what it's all about. You know, that's what's been great about the last couple of years with all these tournaments. It's been getting so many new guys getting involved and meeting people and making friends, and you know, it becoming part of their social lives. So yeah, keep getting out there, spreading the word and getting new people involved, guys. But my question for this week deals with an evil army I've been playing with that is 3-1-0 so far. It's the Golden King of Harad leading 8 Black Númenóreans with the Castellan of Umbar upgrade making them 5-5. Yeah, worth doing. 8 Uruk-hai with Pike supporting the Númenóreans, being led by an Uruk-hai Shaman, and Vrasku leading 5 Uruk-hai Crossbowmen. A few of the guys I've played against said I can't field this army in the tournament because Harad and Isengard can't ally, which I can't find as a rule anywhere. No, you can ally them, of course you can. As long as you've got the hero leading the right troops. So yeah, the Golden King of Harad can lead Black Númenóreans, and Vrasku and the Uruk-hai Shaman can lead Uruk-hai, so there's no problems with that at all. You put, now, I understand for fluff reasons why this might be a no-no, but other than that, is this army legit? Yeah, perfectly legit. I mean, there's nothing fluffy and themed about it, but it's certainly legal, so go for it. You know, don't let anybody stop you doing it. And a second question for James is in regard to my mounted Rohan list. Good man, another one of my Romies out there. That's what we like to hear. You put, I want Sons of Ale in my list more so than Royal Guard because I find them more effective in combat situations. So would it be stupid or ill-advised for me to replace my Royal Guard with more Sons of Ale? Thanks for all the hard work and I'm looking forward to coming to the destination of Stockport. Good man. No promises, but if everything works out, there'll be more than one mounted Rohan list flanking the ranks. Good stuff. Well, I look forward to seeing your mounted Rohan at Stockport, and hopefully lots of you can make it. That'd be really good. Nice. It'd be really good to meet you all and show you a good time as well up in Stockport, because it's a great event, really good tournament. Looking forward to doing a video with Jamie about it, giving you all the details. Yeah, in terms of Sons of Ale, if you go back through some of the old videos, there is some Sons of Ale Tactica. They are one of the best cavalry in the game, and the reason for that is that they are a 2-attack model that is strength 4, and it has an armoured horse and 12-inch movement. So they can get to the enemy quickly, and thus avoid being withered down by bow fire. You know, it's harder to take them down with their armoured horses. For strength 2 bows, that is, of course. You also, I mean, obviously with the weapon strikes, the the piercing strike. Piercing strike obviously makes them good, because they can really go up in strength if you need to. But defense 6 means that if you're up against you know, lots of strength 3 and things like that, then they're going to be quite hard to go down. And it means that turn when you lose priority after you've charged. So hopefully you charged when your opponent had priority, and you managed to charge them, and they can't countercharge you. In the turn after, if you don't win the roll off to get that second charge off, because no matter who gets priority, one of you will call a heroic move, it's inevitable. That's why it's good to keep a reserve, or that's what I do anyway, keep a reserve, so that if you lose that roll off, because it is a 50-50 point a game at that point, you can then charge in where you want to win your fights, or at least load up the dice, as it were, in your favour. But because they've got 2 attacks, they're quite resilient. So even when they've been countercharged, they've still got 2 attacks, and it also means that on the charge that they can charge into a spear line, you know, a front rank of shields and a rear rank of spears, and still be throwing more dice than your opponent. You know, you're throwing 3 to their 2, which means that the odds are in your favour, and they fight 4 as well. So Royal Guard are okay, but Royal Guard, I would say, are more of a defensive troop. They're good for objectives, they're better for holding things in perilous situations, they're good defence, they're good fight value. I certainly like taking them on foot at 600 points, supported by a bit of cavalry, because they can hold a battle line, because you can get them shielding, they've got banner, and you can use your cavalry to you can really sort of hammer and anvil it, you can really shield wall it. So Royal Guard, just shield in, there's a banner behind, so you're getting 3 dice per time, and you've got your Sons of Ale charging in on the flanks. It's pretty cool stuff. But the more I've played over this last year, the more I've thought, you know, sort of gone down the lines of, like Damien did with his Isengard list, where, you know, he'd be theorising lists, and he would think, you know, is it better taking a feral Urukai, or taking an Urukai with shield, or with pike, and just got, well, this list will be better with more feral Urukai. And I've kind of gone the same way, not necessarily 2/3 to 1/3, you know, elite to bows, for, you know, or crossbows like he does, or bows how I would, but more of a sort of 50-50 split. Sons of Ale are great, and if you can get them in your force, do. They are expensive, so have a really good think about, you know, how many you want in there, and have a play as well. If you've only got 1 or 2 in there, then they become target priority for the enemy, and they go down pretty quickly. So I would definitely recommend at 500 points having 4 or more if you can. Okay, so I hope that helps, and good luck. And if you want any Rohan Tactica, let me know, because I am the Rohan man. Okay, so next up we've got Dynasty. He's put, now I'm in the double loop. My first question will be referring back to Star Wars SBG. Cool. You put, I hope you both know who Boba Fett is. Yes, I certainly do. Certainly do. And his ship Slave 1. You put, what would you make his stats and abilities? Wow, like Boba Fett. Well, he'd have to be an independent hero. He wouldn't be able to lead troops, because he is, you know, he's a bounty hunter, isn't he? Now, I imagine that other bounty hunters who would also have to be independent heroes, would be reasonably good. But I think Boba Fett has to be better. So let's say a normal bounty hunter would have to be a bit more like a captain profile, but have the ability to kind of assassinate or something. So the equivalent, they've got to have elven cloaks of some kind, something which represents them not being able to be seen or being stealthy, like a stalk unseen rule. I think Boba Fett would be fight 5 or fight 6. I think he would have his booster little jump pack thing, so he could boost around. So he'd have a reasonable amount of movement, like a cavalry model, so maybe 10-inch movement, to represent him bounding round. And he'd maybe have to fly special rule, something similar to represent that. He would have a 3+ shoot value, apart from when he's moved or used his jetpack, at which point if he's moved half, it would be 4+. I think he'd be strength 4. I think he'd be defense 6. I think he would have 2 attacks. I think he'd have 2 wounds. I think he would have courage 5 or courage 6. I think he would have 3 might, 1 will, and 1 fate. That's what I'm going for. So like your named captainy kind of models, I suppose, but with some cool special rules. Good little question. Thank you very much. And Dynasty, you've put a second question here. And my second question is, do you prefer Lord of the Rings or Hobbit movies? I personally preferred Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I would agree with that. I prefer the Lord of the Rings movies. I do like the Hobbit movies, but I prefer Lord of the Rings movies. That might change when we get the extended, all of the extended editions in that triple box set, and I get to watch them all. But the Lord of the Rings were pretty perfect to me as a geek, so I would certainly say that. So next up we got Skunky08. He put, "Hi guys, keep up the good work." Thank you very much. He put, "What is your opinion of an armoured Azog with maybe a cement mace? Also, could I get a shout out to Gwenny?" Yes, shout out to Gwenny. There you go. So a cement mace, it would have to be like some kind of unwieldy thing, wouldn't it? So you'd have to use whirl when you do it to use it, but you get like +1 strength, or it always wounds on a 2+ or something ridiculous, but it lowers your fight value down to 1, but you can hit everything in base contact. It would have to be something like that. That would be quite cool. An armoured Azog would be a beast. He suffers a little bit for being that lower defence, I have to say. But thank you very much for your question, Skunky08. Next up we got Tour Seragon. So, "Hi guys, been out of the loop a while now, moving house. Well, we're glad that you are back. Arranging a wedding, etc, etc. Good stuff." So, got 2 questions this week. First, is there a Mordor Uruk-hai Shaman, or could you use the Isengard equivalent for Fury on Blackguard and Mordor Uruks? I don't think you can use it. I don't see why you can't use the I don't think there is a Mordor Uruk-hai Shaman. I'm pretty sure there isn't. I'm not going to go check the book. If there is, let me know, but I'm pretty sure there isn't. Now, you certainly wouldn't be able to use a shaman's, like an Isengard Shaman, an Uruk-hai Shaman's Fury on Blackguard, because Blackguard, I don't think they're Uruk-hai, are they? But I just don't see why you wouldn't be able to use it on Mordor Uruk-hai. It's just that they wouldn't be able to lead those troops. You'd have to ally in the Uruk-hai Shaman. But the Mordor Uruk-hai are Uruk-hai, so yeah, the Fury would work for them, I presume. And your second question, is it true that Spectre's spell, Fell Light, can be used to make an enemy model lie down? I heard this somewhere. Great content, guys. It's good to be back. Yeah, I think so. you can move them, and lying down is part of movement, moving them. So I don't see why you couldn't do that, why you couldn't make a model lie down, as long as you're following the rules for lying down like you have to. So yeah, it could be a good way of being able to charge someone who is lying on the floor, I think. Mind you, I've not seen that being done, so I wonder. It'll be in there. The best place to ask this, of course, is to go onto the Great British Hobbit League Facebook group and just pop a question on there, because there's tons of guys on there who know a lot more about the rules than I do, I have to say. Hold my hands up. But thank you very much, and yes, it's good to have you back as well, buddy. Okay, so next up we've got Jack Hartwell. He's put, hello guys, I found your channel a while back and it has really inspired me to get back into the hobby, so thank you. Well, that is great news. That's exactly why we do this, and I hope that we've had a positive impact on getting people to pick up their toy soldiers again and support their Hobbit hobby, because that's what we're here for. You put, this is my first question. Well, if Jamie was here, I would say to Jamie, what does that mean? And Jamie would say that you are now in the loop. And the loop is a never-ending circle where once you've asked a question and we attempt to answer it, you must ask a question every single week. So I expect to see you back next week, buddy. You have put, I was wondering, if I used Murin and Dra, do they both have to deploy in the same warband, or can they lead a warband each? Yes, they have to be in the same warband. You have to pick which one of them is the warband leader, and one of them will then take up one of the troop slots in the 12 troops that can be taken in the warband. So if you take Murin and Dra, you take Murin, he could be the leader, for example, and then you can take 11 warriors and Dra. You can't take 12 warriors and Dra. It's exactly the same with the twins. Exactly the same with the twins for Rivendell. Eladan and Elra here. I'm a little confused because of how they are pointed in the rule book. Yeah, I can see how that would be confusing. But yes, those are the rules. I'm pretty sure I've got that right. You put, thanks for the fantastic content. Oh, thank you, buddy, for your kind words. And look forward to your answer. Well, I hope that did answer it, and we look forward to hearing more from you next week. So next up, we've got Joshua Scythius. I've not heard from you for a long time. Scythius, I'm pretty sure, is a good painter. Painted some ring raids. Is that right? I know you from the One Ring Forum from years ago. But what's up, guys, that is not my question. Do you think that the Battle Company's point system is the best tool for making custom profiles and getting accurate points costs worked out? Well, it's a good way of building profiles sort of randomly, because of course they've got to go and do things, and then their profile builds according to what's happened to them in the game. I don't think it's a perfect system. But it's okay, and it's good fun. In terms of pointing them, I believe that if you contact Thomas Harrison, if you've not already got a copy of the SBG fanzine, that you contact GBHL Damien or GBHL Tom, and you ask them if they have a copy of SBG going, because in there they have a formula for pointing models and what everything is worth, because some things are exponential. You know, so going from 1 attack to 2 attacks, your 3rd attack is worth more than your 2nd attack, and if you have 4 attacks, your 4th attack is worth more than your step from 2 to 3, and all that kind of stuff, and same with might and other things. So yeah, contact them. If you've not got that, then I think that that's got a thing of how each stat is pointed, and talks about that kind of thing in detail. But good to hear from you, Scythius, and hopefully you're back for good now and you can start asking us some more questions. So next up, we've got Big Will's Diaries. You put, so I suppose this is my first comment. I suppose this is my first comment, puts me firmly in the loop. Well, it certainly does. You're now in that loop. I think I'm finally ready to take on that commitment. Well, we shall see, and we'll be checking next week, pal, so don't let us down. You put, my first question is a generic list question. I recently got back into the hobby and I dug out my collection from when I was younger, but I only collected models to paint, not for gaming. I'm trying to build a list for different armies that uses these models up rather than buying all new models and spending a fortune. Well, spending a fortune supports your Hobbit hobby, so don't be afraid to do that. You've put, the best 500 point Gondor army from my old collection I think I can take make is Aragorn on an armoured horse with 5 warriors and Minas Tirith, Madril with 4 archers, and Cirion with 5 warriors and Minas Tirith. Is this list any good, and what changes you make, as I don't mind spending a little bit of money on it? We should have to spend a lot of money for fleshing out a Minas Tirith list. The problem with that is that Aragorn King Lesser is very, very expensive. You know, the fact that he has to take the very, very over-pointed Anduril is a big, big letdown. Yes, he's defense 7, he's a beastie hero, but you are paying a lot of points for him. And as a result, that means that you're not being able to fill out your warbands. And ideally, you want to be able to fill out your warbands. I mean, what I would say is that if you are going to take Aragorn, because you really want to take Aragorn King Lesser, because he is a beast, you know, there's no doubt about that. But if you do want to do that, sorry, got a weird rash on my arm. If you do want to do that, it's probably better having 2 warbands, but that does mean from a troops point of view, especially with the types of troops that you've got, which aren't elites, that you will be on the downside. Now, there are a couple of ways that you can go with Gondor. You can really, really hoard it up. So if you are going for warriors and Minas Tirith and you're sort of going for that kind of build, then there's some really cheap heroes that you can have to lead them. You know, so your Beragons and your Damrods are really good models to pick up and get hold of. And then you can afford to get in a Boromir. I mean, if you've got Boromir, Captain of Gondor, him on a horse with a lance, he is a beast, and probably better value than Aragorn King Lesser in lots of ways. I mean, would you rather pay 5 points for a lance, which gives you +1, you're wounding most things on 5s anyway, so you're wounding on 4s, so, you know, it's more useful than I would say Aragorn's wounds on a 3 all the time, I would say anyway, for the points. But then you can afford to bring them because you've got some really cheap heroes. I would certainly say try and fill up your warbands. You want to try and make sure that you've got all 12. You know, if you're going for warriors and Minas Tirith, you know, have your front rank with shields and swords and your rear rank with spears. Or what you could do is get some rangers to give you the extra fight value, so you could use them for your bow fire. Put a rear rank of rangers with spears, and of course they come with bows, and then of course you've got fight 4 then for your front rank, and you've got a defense 6 front rank, and you've got a bow line and spears and higher fight behind. So that might be the way that you could go if you're Gondor. So I hope that helps a little bit. Go out there and have a look and let us know how you get on, pal. So next up we've got David Whittaker. So we've got David Whittaker's put, okay, picture this. Someone has decided to remake the Lord of the Rings movies for release in a couple of years' time. After stumbling on these videos, the producer decided you're the guys to do the casting. I don't think that they would think that we were competent enough. I think that they might cast me as, you know, AM. I can see that now. I just think they would. You put here, most importantly, you need to recast the Fellowship of the Ring. Budget is no limit. You can pick any 9 actors you like with just 2 conditions. You can use none of the original Lord of the Rings cast, and at least one of the 9 heroes must be played by Nicolas Cage. Who will Nick be playing, and who do you pick to play the other 8 members of the Fellowship? But if you're going to have Nicolas Cage, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Okay, let's have a real good think. A really good think. A really, really, really good think. God, it's tough. This is the thing. I can't imagine Gandalf being anyone other than Ian McKellen. Ian McKellen has become... He is Gandalf. So that's really hard. I'm not very hot on actors and stuff like that, you know. I'd be quite happy to get someone else to be Legolas. I can't think of any actors that I particularly really, really like. at all really. Who would do it? Sean Bean as Boromir, that's... Maybe get Clive Owen as Boromir. Maybe. I don't know. God, I can't even think of any actors. I honestly can't think of any actors at all. I'm gonna have to go away and have a think about that and maybe do a separate video. I think I need to see like the pictures of the actors and see their name. I'm not great at names at the best of times, like if they're not clients. So good question though. Wow, that's a really tough question. Cheers, David. Next up we've got Jay Archer. He's put, hey James and Jamie. Firstly, love all your videos. Thank you very much. Hope that continues to be so. They've got me hooked on the amazing GBHL channel, but also on SBG too. That's great news. But this is my first question ever. So I guess I'm now in the loop. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So I look forward to seeing you here again next week. You put my questions for this week are, first to James, has Jane found out about Smaug? No, she hasn't. And don't tell her, because otherwise I'll be dead. Okay, so I don't know what happened there. Something cut off. Or you put, if so, what have you agreed to keep her happy? Perhaps letting her paint half of him pink. Well, I don't think that painting Smaug pink would make her happy. I think that she would find it very hard to get past the fact that I spent £200 on a toy. So it's gonna take some time. I have no idea how I'm gonna get away with getting Smaug into this house. If you have any ideas, let me know. Anyway, secondly, I was playing a 400-point game at my local GW, Twickenham, last week. Oh, so you live in Twickenham. You should contact GBHL Damien. He lives not too far away from Twickenham. I can't remember the name of the place. He's moved out of Twickenham, and he's just round the corner now. So yeah, contact him. Maybe you can get a game in. Maybe film a battle report with you. And my opponent used a Balrog in a small points game. Like that, I had not chosen an army with magic, and also had very few heroes. As you'd expect, playing to the death, I lost. What are the best ways to beat monsters or creatures like the Balrog or Sauron, or are they simply unbeatable? To me, magic and a hero-heavy army seems the good option to stop them, as you can heroic strike to be a high fire value than them. Otherwise, you're relying on them to roll badly. Other than that, what do you guys recommend? Thanks for the reply and keep up the good work. Also, you two make a great double act, and I love the banter. So I have named you the Deadly Duo. I love the banter too. It's a shame when he's not here for me to take the mickey out of him, and to sort of take the mickey out of myself as well. It's much harder doing these videos on your own. But of course, we'd rather get the content out and give you guys, we don't want you to ever think, oh, what's going on? Where's our speak friend in question? Okay, so the best way to beat big things like that is, the thing is, the Balrog has no might. It has 4 attacks, 3 or 4 attacks. At some point, it is not going to roll a 6. At which point, you need to make sure that when you were in that combat, you had as many models in base contact with it as you possibly could. So you're rolling as many dice as you can, and that you trapped it, so that then you're doubling that. So even though it's a high defense, you are giving yourself a chance to wound this thing. It's not going to roll a 6. There are going to be times where it doesn't roll a 6. The best way to beat them is, of course, is being able to immobilize it. Immobilize these big things. So immobilize is such an important spell. So if you can take a wizard, or if you're evil, take some kind of wraith, or basically something that can just immobilize. That's a really good way of taking down these big things. And heroes can help, especially things that have got +1 to wound are going to be really helpful. But ultimately, you want to be throwing as many dice as you can. Taking armies that have got bodyguard or high courage is obviously a good way to go. But ultimately surrounding and just getting as many dice. And remember, if you get one guy in, because you've got to obviously roll for courage, and hopefully you've got reasonable courage. If you get one guy in, if you've got spear support, make sure you put the spear support in next with him, and then you don't have to obviously roll to charge in. So you've just by passing one courage test, got 2 dice in on him. And think of it in terms of the number of dice. At some point they're not going to roll a 6, and yeah, it's pain, it's tough to take down, but eventually you should whittle them down as long as you can surround and trap them. That is key. So I hope that helps a little bit there, buddy, and hopefully the Deadly Duo will be reunited next week. So next up we've got Jeremy Smith. Good to see you, pal. He's put, asking while watching this week as not to miss out on the loop. Like the vid, not much more than 10% or so. What? Like the vid, not much more than 10% or so. Oh, right, okay. So Jeremy Smith is like, lots of you watch this, but not all of you are clicking the like button. What's your problem? That's basically what Jeremy Smith is saying. It takes you literally half a second to click the like button. If you are watching this, click the like button on any video. When you do that, it really helps the video. You have no idea. When you comment on a video, when you like it, that kind of interaction sends magic stardust to YouTube, and it makes us rate more, and it means that we come up more in suggested feeds and stuff like that, and it means that more people on wargaming channels are going to have access to us because we're going to come up for those kind of searches. So yeah, I agree with Jeremy Smith. Not more than 10% or so have liked the video. What's up, fellow GBHLers? Just click one more button. What the hell? You put don't have a question. Yeah, what kind of crap are you trying to pull? You're getting told off by Jeremy Smith subscribers who haven't liked this video so far, so get on it. You put don't have a question yet, but you know me, I'm a speaking friend. But do you have a favourite scenario that you have yet to tape? No, that's been asked many times. Favourite that we've yet to tape? Not off the top of my head, no. But James, what did you get for Valentine's Day? I got a card. Valentine's Day was more about spoiling Jane this year. So I made a breakfast in the morning, got some dead posh bacon, dead posh sausage, some beans, went off to work all day, and when she came back I told her that she had to get dressed up dead nice to go out for a fancy meal. I'd run her a bath, there were candles lit in the house, I tidied the whole house up except for the dining room. I'd left all my models all over the table. And then she went upstairs, got in the bath, I told her that she had to be ready by 20 past, and when she went and got in the bath, I tidied the dining room, lit all the candles, went, cooked a bit of magray, which is duck breast, as you know, scored the top, massaged in some salt and pepper, put it on the griddle pan first on the fat side, draining off the fat for about 8 minutes, then turned it over so that the fat was on top, put that in the oven, gas mark 7 for another 18 minutes or so, so it was medium well. I told her that the taxi was outside waiting for us for this posh meal. She'd come running downstairs, and I'd set up this nice meal. So yeah, that was our thing. Got like some flowers and stuff as well. So yeah, that's what we did at Valentine's Day. And Jamie, did you give any Valentine gifts? And he's put F/U. I don't know what that means. I'm not very computer literate or social media language savvy, so I don't know what that means. But have you broken in your new apartment? I'm not going to answer that question on his behalf. Jamie's relationship things is very complicated, so I'm really wishing him all the best with that. So anyway, maybe you can ask him next week. So next up we got Andreas Fossheim. You've got hi guys, depending on Jamie showing up again. Yeah, he's not here, but it's quite late. I'm actually going to be able to answer many of the questions this week because it's 10:30 on the Saturday night. I'm going to York tomorrow, so this is the only chance I'm going to get to get this done and uploaded. You put, first of all, I absolutely love your enthusiasm. This Hobbit will be kept alive by people like us. I agree. And that was the brief always when I approached Jamie about taking what he'd started in this kind of direction, was that being a positive face for the hobby was going to be the best way to encourage people to either stay with it, to come back to it, or to get with it. And lots of you have got with it, so good guys. You can officially put a pin on Norway if you haven't already. So greetings from Oslo. Well, make the trip. We've got loads of guys who come over from the Viking regions to come and battle with us. So it'd be good for you to come over to maybe Desolation of Stockport. You put, thanks to some fellow hobbyists here, we are now about 40 strong. You could properly invade Desolation of Stockport. I think that's a good idea. I think the Dutch and the Belgians. That's not right. The Dutch and the... What are Belgian people called? What the hell? Have I gone stupid? What is a Belgian person called? what is a Belgian? A Belgian. Oh my god. Right, someone's going to have to help me out here. Yeah, the guys from Belgium and the guys from Holland are coming over in their numbers, and we've had people come over from Sweden and Greece and from all over the world. We get quite a few guys coming from Ireland, and we've got all the Scottish lads coming down. So maybe you could get your 40 gamers to come over and represent Norway over here. That would be amazing. And really good that you've been building your community over there. And it's dedicated to J.R.R. Tolkien. Works games here in the capital, and the enthusiasm is living strong here. Oh, that's really good to hear. Just wanted to give you a shout out from our community, from us here in the Cold North. Well, a big shout out from all of us guys over here in the Great British Hobbit League in the UK. It'd be really good for more of us sort of international groups to get together, and it's been really good to see quite a few springing up. I've even seen some YouTube names which are very similar. It's good. Since we've been doing this, we appear to have motivated a few other people to doing things like battle reports and Hobbit SBG info shows a go, which can only be a good thing, so good luck to all those people. But I've seen things like the such and such Hobbit League and the such and such Hobbit League, which is really good to see. So it'd be great for all of our sort of international communities to get together at some point, like a World Series. That would be cool. You put, and since I want in the loop, here's my question. Everybody wants in the loop. It's a very precious place to be. A couple of episodes ago, the Spider Queen came up with the question if it was a unique hero or not. You were quite adamant they had been FAQ'd. As I recently brought my store back to 3 of them, I wanted to explore this further. I've looked through all the current books and I cannot find any reference to her being a unique named hero. The only reference is an amendment to the Mordor book where she is FAQ'd to an independent hero, as she could lead a Mordor army but not lead a Moria army. So onto my question, taking 3 Spider Queens at 700 to 750 points, cheesy or not? Hope to be included in the loop and keep up the fantastic work. I'm pretty sure that this was FAQ'd because it used to be done and it got changed so that she was a named hero. I'm pretty sure of this. But since I don't have any reference in front of me and we don't do any research before these speed friendly questions, I can't help you. But if you want to check that, then again, I can refer you to the Great British Hobbit League Facebook page, ask to join it, and you can pop that in there, can you take more than one Spider Queen? Is she a named hero or not? And I'm pretty sure that somewhere, it says that she is a named hero. It is the Spider Queen, not a Spider Queen. But welcome to the loop and see you next week. It's Jay Finnegan. Jay Finnegan has put, boys, last week you referred to yourself as Laurel and Hardy and Morecambe and Wise. Just going to throw this out there, Paul and Barry. I agree, yeah, the Chuckle Brothers. Good call, I like it. Have any of you seen that, the Chuckle Brothers with Tinchy Strider at the Radio 1 Live Lounge? I think it's Tinchy Strider. That's well worth checking out. Type in YouTube. That's this week's The Scouring of YouTube. Type in Tinchy Strider only if you're from the UK will you understand this, by the way. The Chuckle Brothers. Type in Tinchy Strider, Chuckle Brothers Radio 1 or something like that and check it out. It's pretty funny. And Barry can move. Just saying. Okay, it's Ian Banter Marley. But firstly, I would like to compliment Jamie and Damien up to now on the Fellowship of the Ring campaign. I'm enjoying the scenarios and it's nice to be able to root for something again, and I haven't done this since Middle-earth's Deadliest Warband. So down to the question, homies, does Gangster Ali G hand? So a 700 point Mordor army containing Gorbag, Shagrat, Orc, Shaman, 43 Orc, Shelob and Gollum, Hobbit version. Now enough points left for a named Wraith on a Fell Beast, so to lead this flushiest force, the Darth Marshal or the Shadow Lord. LOL James, you mentioned that we are grown-ups, speak for yourself. Yeah, that's true actually, based on our experiences last time I saw you. Okay. I would say, well, the Dark Marshal is going to be acting as a good banner for all of those guys there. I mean, you want to be really nasty. I think the Knight of Umbar is probably the best thing to take with that kind of force. You've got Shagrat, you've got Dark Marshal. Dark Marshal. I'm going for Dark Marshal. Shadow Lord will be okay, and it's obviously going to sort of protect you a little bit from shooting, but you've got a lot of models there. You've got a lot of models, and that's only going to protect so many of them in a bubble as you advance. And really, you know, do you need for that many points on a Fell Beast? Do you want more of a support hero, or do you want something that can go and do some stuff? And Dark Marshal can certainly do some stuff. He's reasonably strong, so I'd say maybe go for Dark Marshal. But if you want to cheese it up, go for Knight of Umbar. But thank you very much for your question, and look forward to you coming down for Jay's birthday in March. Okay, so next up we've got Jack Berry. He's put, hi guys, just making sure I don't get out of the loop this week. Good lad. As I'm new to the channel. I apologise for this week's question, but how did you both get into the Lord of the Rings, Hobbit hobby and general tabletop gaming? Just thought it might be useful to encourage friends getting into the game and wondered how you both got into the hobby. Sorry if this question has already been asked. I'm in the process of watching the previous Speak Friend and Question videos. Thanks for taking the time to read this question. Have we done this as a Speak Friend and Question frequently asked question? I think we might have done. If you go and check out our playlists and check out Speak Friend and Question frequently asked questions, I'm sure there's a video in there when we say it. I can't remember Jamie's story exactly, but I got into it, I think I've answered it a million times. I got into it because when I was a teenager, one of the things that chilled me out from my exams and everything was that I found a forum that was waiting for the Rome Total War game to come out because it's in the engine on a show called Time Commanders. I was always been into history and everything, and on this forum I met a bunch of other people who were interested in sort of ancient warfare and things, and they set up their own site with their own PHP sort of forum based game where you know, create a board and write out your moves, and I was a big part of their first sort of Lord of the Rings games. And then I did that for a few years, and you know, also helped them admin it and run it. And then I kept in touch with a lot of those people, even though I never met them. And then obviously I opened my own business, getting quite stressed with my business. I remembered how much that chilled me out and how much I love Lord of the Rings and everything. And I went back there saying that I was going to go and revamp the game and restart it. And it was sort of doing a bit of research for that I stumbled across Strategy Battle Game, and then I found the One Ring. And the One Ring was an amazing community, and it was the enthusiasm of people on there like Deadmar Spectre, Kev Lawrence, and even, you know, I think Damien Grantham, UK Freddy Bear, Dr. Grant, who's Damien, Serial Killer, who's Owen Wright, all of these people that I've ended up knowing, which is mad really, because it's weird, like I used to just know them as screen names, and now I know them as people. It's much more disappointing. You know, but all of their enthusiasm sort of encouraged me to give it a go, and I remember picked up a box of Khazad, I think, just to see what the models were like, and then Jane caught me, and that's when I decided to do some Grey Company stuff. So that's how I got into it, only a couple of years ago. So yeah, get on watching all those videos. You've got a ton of a backlog, so you can see it gets through some serious painting. There's a lot of videos to watch. Next up, we got the Lord of the Rings SBG team. Sorry I did not post last week. That's not good enough, pal. You're going to have to make it up. You're going to have to create some kind of double loop, aren't you? But this week's question is, do you think Heroic Channel Fury is an overpowered power, especially used with Isengard, Defence 6 troops and D8 captains are hard enough to kill, right? D8 captains? You mean D7 captains? They can only go up to Defence 7 Isengard captains. I'm pretty sure about that. Pretty sure. Okay, let's have a little think. Is Fury overpowered? No, I don't think it's overpowered. I do think it's too common, easy and cheap to cast, and it's a big boost for evil, and it negates so many of the things that can make evil. You know, evil armies tend to be very competitive, don't they? And I think Fury is a massive part of that. It's a huge part, because all of a sudden their low courage, which should be a massive swing against them, is against them. But then again, there are ways of taking out shamans and getting rid of them. I don't think it's overpowered though. I just think, you know, you can go for a game and you don't roll a Fury save and you've paid for that. And your shaman gets taken down and it goes, and you know, it's a bit of a waste of points. So no, I don't think it's overpowered, but I think it's a bit too dominant in the meta. It's too much of an obvious thing, really. I think with a lot of things, what it should be is that you don't get in situations where you've got it with Rohan, for example. Like you've got to take Erkenbrand if you're going to be competitive with Rohan. Erkenbrand is a pretty sort of set on choice, isn't he? You know, and I don't agree with having. I think there should always be that sort of choice of, well, I could take this, and this is going to make my army a bit more like this, or would I take this? And it's got to be a predicament. And I think we've taken Fury for most evil armies is a bit of a no-brainer, and as a result, because it's an auto-include, you know, that says to me that there's something too cheap about it, or it does too much, or you know, whatever it might be. So yeah. So next up we got William Farquhar's son. Welcome back, Lord Farquhar. Speak Friend and Question just gets better every week. Well done, guys. We say that. I'm now here on my own, late at night, on Saturday night, trying to hold it together myself. So I hope you're enjoying this video, guys, and getting lots of painting done. That's very important. But this question might get a bit long, so Jamie should probably read this. He's not here, so it's me. But the rules used to state that a model could not carry a shield and or spear if it had a banner. And so the banner model for Arnor does not have a shield or spear, even though it has them as standard in its war gear. As we all know, the rules have changed. So this means now that the banner model has a spear and shield, as it does say in his war gear. Obviously, the what you see is what you get rule is a good guideline, but should it apply to this situation? As in the case of Arnor, you are forced to pay the points for the war gear as it comes standard with the Warriors of Arnor. So what overrules? The fact it comes with the model automatically, or that it isn't shown on the model. I ask because I would obviously like to be able to do a shield block with my banner bearer, but don't want to convert the gorgeous model. Thanks. Well, it is good if you can do some kind of conversion, but because it's in his war gear anyway, I would say that you don't have to really. You don't have to. They come as standard. They come with it. It's not like they have to pay points to get the shield or a spear. They come with a shield and spear. And yes, previously, the banner bearer would obviously lose the ability to have the shield and spear, but now that that isn't the case, then I would say that the Arnor banner does count as having a shield and a spear and can use them. So I hope that helps. And anybody who tells you otherwise when you put your Arnor banner down, tell them to do one. Okay? So thank you very much, William Farquharson. Next, wow, we've got a lot of questions. What time is it? I've been doing this for 1 hour and 10, and I've got about 40 questions left. Okay, I'm going to speed up a little bit, guys. I hope you don't mind, because I am shattered. We've got Al Wood. He's put, thanks for the in-depth response with the all-mounted gondola army, Jamie. Much appreciated. Yeah, we had a good chat about that. I read the article in SBG fanzine, and James's comment on using cavalry had me raring to go with them. But then your cavalry killer argument had me thinking that the most sensible thing I could do is go for an all-foot army. If you want to take cavalry, you have to be patient. You have to be. I'm not bigging myself up here, but you have to be. You do have to be clever. It's not as simple as just charge. There's a lot more to it, and it's very rewarding when you play it right. But there are a lot of things that are very good at dealing with cavalry, and you're always working against that. But part of the fun of taking any army, in my opinion, is trying to make it work against adversity, because there are always going to be. That is why I like playing against people who are very, very tough, and lists that are very tough, because that's how you get better. So don't be put off by the cavalry. You know, it can be made to work, and hopefully that is one of my contributions to the community. If you can call it a contribution, that sounds massively sort of big-headed, but you know what I mean. Like, I run a cavalry army. Cavalry have many weaknesses. I've made it work, and I'm not just saying me, other people have made it work. You know, James Braun has done very well with Rivendell. Has won tournament with Rivendell Knights. Ed Ball's run one tournament with Rivendell Knights. You know, but I'm just saying that you know, don't be put off. If you want to do it. It's fun. You put, I'm still tempted to bring it in April, not to prove you wrong, as you suggest, Jamie, but because I like the idea of it. That's good enough. Just bring it because it looks cool and because you're going to have fun with it. I mean, that has to come first. You know, you can. There's nothing wrong with trying to optimise a list, you know. But if you've got an idea of what you want to do, yeah, you can optimise it and try and play it. Try and make it work. I would love to see your all-mounted Minas Tirith army that represents that charge to try and take back Osgiliath. I think that would look really cool. I don't think it'd be super competitive. I think it'd be very hard for you to play as. You are going to need to use your mounted citadel bows, and you're going to have to be very patient, and you're going to have to really isolate. You're going to have to be very frustrating for your opponents to play against you, because you're going to have to try and pick off bits of their battle line with bow superiority, and pull them apart and skirmish, and only charge in when you know that you are going to win those fights. So it'll be very tough for you, but good luck. You put, having only played 1 pointer game of Hobbit SBG, there is no way I'll be competitive, so I'm coming along to have fun and learn. Well, then you'll be fine. It's going to be great, and I look forward to meeting you, buddy. It's going to be cool. My question, who do you consider, not including Smaug, as the deadliest evil and good characters within the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit SBG? The deadliest? You mean like the completely, like, the strongest? Like the strongest outright. Well, the strongest outright single miniature for evil, not being Smaug. Would it be Sauron with the ring? Is that right? And then the thing is, for good heroes, like they've all got roles, haven't they? I mean, you would be tempted to say. Of course, you'd be tempted to say Aragorn, King Alessa, you know, 3-pointer might every turn, defense 7, he's got all the 3s in all the right places, wounded on the 3+, you know, yeah, I mean, but point for point, he's not necessarily worth it. You know, there are things that are better for the points, but in terms of straight out, is he the best? Then I guess he probably is. Someone can call me out and tell me I'm wrong at some point. I'm sure you will do. But then again, you've got like Treebeard's pretty good. You know, if you're talking like a 1 versus 1 situation here, or like what's the mightiest single miniature? Bayonne in bear form is pretty good. You know, just a bit unreliable getting there in the first place. So yeah, I mean, it's very, very tough. Very, very tough. I'm probably way off, by the way. So if anybody else has got better insight than I do, let us know. Make sure you comment below. Okay, so next up we've got Kurt Leach. He's put, what do you think of this 500 point themed Arnold list? You put Arrowed Thorn, 17 Dunedain with Spear. It's low numbers, but I think it's cool. It's low numbers, everything's on foot. It's going to find it very, very hard on certain objectives. It's going to be almost always outnumbered. It's very soft. You'll be killed very easily. But it will be great fun to play as, and it's got a lovely theme. So I love it, but not because it would be competitive. But go and prove me wrong. Okay, I love it though. I want to do an army like that. I've got my Dunedain ready. I'd love to do something like that just for fun. I think it'd look really cool. Next up we've got Faith in Heresy. You've got, hi guys, long time no question I'm afraid. Well, good that you're back, buddy. But now I'm back with a vengeance, with the miniature to the bot. My question this week is, do you know of any alternate colour schemes for elves? It's not that I don't like the current ones, but it's the idea of wintry elves or ones from Silmarillion sound like it would look really awesome. Thanks and well done on the great channel. Well, thank you very much, Faith in Heresy. Okay, alternate. If you like the idea of wintry elves, then yeah, definitely go for sort of some light blues and silvers. Light blues and silvers would be a really good way to go. So I've gone for sort of autumnal. So you know, I've gone for your dark red and your silver kind of theme, and your bronzes and all that kind of bit. But you could maybe go for the silver, because the gold is, you know, the spring summer edition, isn't it, of elves. Silver is your autumn winter. So you go for your silver armour, but then instead of going for the red and the warmth that I've got with the autumn with the colours, you go for the fang would be a good colour because it's like a bluey grey. I think that could work really, really well and look very cool. So good luck with that and let me know how you get on. Next up we've got Lucas Whitcroft White. He's put, hi guys, I have big news. That's brilliant. I'm 100% coming to Stockport. That is great news, really good news. My question is, can I pay up front when I'm there, or do I have to pay via email? You have to pay via email, buddy, you have to pay in advance. Thanks, and looking forward to seeing you at Stockport. For those of you who want to come to Stockport, Desolation of Stockport at the end of April, Desolation Stockport 2015, hopefully another record-breaking tournament. It's the biggest tournament in the whole wide world, I believe, so far on record. And we got here that's independent, of course. It's not as big as Throne of Skulls and that kind of thing. Certainly the biggest in the UK since the formation of the Great British Hobbit League. If you want to do that, you need to pay to ilovewargaming@gmail.com. ilovewargaming@gmail.com. If you struggle to do that, send us an email at ilovewargaming@gmail.com, and we can always give you the channel bank account details so that you can do a direct transfer, and it's £30. So if anybody wants to get yourself on that, get on it soon, because April approaches, guys. So really good news that you come in, Lucas. But oh yeah, look forward to seeing you at Stockport. Yeah, look forward to seeing you there. Next up, we've got Square Squire. He's put, my question this week, we've come into the tournament in April. Awesome, another person coming, that's what we like to hear. Have you paid? If not, ilovewargaming@gmail.com, let's do it. At 600 points, what is the best model count to have? And can you have too many, like having pure Goblin Town or Shire Force? What is the best way to lower it if you have too many, like taking monsters or expensive heroes? Is 80 models at 600 points too many? No, 80 models at 600 points is scary. It's not too many, it's scary. Sounds really good. Are you going for a Shire Force? Because it'd be very competitive. Very competitive. I would say that 600 points, you need to be really having over 30 models. You really should be aiming to have 3-4 warbands at 600 points, or that should be your aim, unless of course you've got lots of elites and 2 attack heroes, or multiple cavalry or monsters and stuff like that. But if you're an evil force, 80 models is brilliant, really, really good. So yeah, look forward to seeing you here, buddy. That'd be really cool. Next up we've got Will Wright. He's put, hey guys, first thanks so much to the GBHL channel for getting me back into the hobby. That is what we're here for, and I'm glad that we've been able to do that over the last year or so. My question is, do you think Radagast on Eagle is worth it? For me, losing the staff is just too big a price to pay. I don't know, he's pretty good. He's pretty good, he's monstrous cavalry. The Eagle's really good, it's better than the Fell Beast. I think he's good. I think it's expensive, but it's worth it. Worth it at higher points cost, I think. Leaving Radagast with a limited amount of will and even weaker to sap will doesn't justify bringing him in that form to battle. And you put, James, your Wanderers in the Wild list is awesome and keep up the brilliant work. Well, hopefully it'll become more awesome when Shadow and Flame send me my Radagast on sleigh, which I believe is nearly done, and also my Radagast on foot, so I can use that. That would be great. I would like some Woses and Gambarigan. If anybody would like to send me some Woses and Gambarigan, then I will gratefully receive them. Because then I'll be pretty happy. I don't have Tom Bombadil and Goldberry either. If anybody wants to send me those, you know, always happy to accept free models, everyone. So next up, yeah. Well, just to finish off your question, I think Radagast on Eagle is very cool. I think go for it. Go for it. My one thing is it's a shame that it's the same eagle as what you get in the plastic eagle. Like it's the same. I know it's not because I know it's not the exact because it's not the plastic eagle. It's not like they've gone and got one of the plastic eagles. It's just the same pose, isn't it? Because he's fine cast and so is the eagle, sure. And I don't really like the pose on him. I think that it's a reasonably easy conversion to do to make it look as good as that. But that being said, obviously buy the model and support your Hobbit hobby, and I think it's a really cool profile. I really do. I think it'd be lots of fun to play as. How competitive it will be, I don't know. I don't think it'll be like massively meta changing or anything like that, but I think it'd be fun. Next up, we've got Dominic Harris. He's put, hi guys, tried to think of a really, really long question for Jamie, but that would be mean. No, it's not mean. Like, he's just flirting, isn't he? You know, he's just pretending that he doesn't like long questions. I know that he likes long questions, really. If you want to make Jamie happy, address questions to him and make them really, really long. That's a good way to go. You put, with the recent release of the new White Council, do you think we'll see more White Council armies at tournaments? Yes, I believe so. I believe that there was a White Council army which won the doubles event at Slayer Games in Mansfield. I'm pretty sure that was a White Council army off the top of my head. Was it? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think you will do. I mean, I'm not sure how competitive they'll be, but they've certainly been given a standing chance with, you know, some of Saruman's rules and Galadriel, and, you know, just really, really good, very cool. I picked up the kit the other day and the models are amazing, Elrond in particular, although Tom and Damien weren't keen on Galadriel, haha. Well, interestingly, a lot of people aren't keen on the Elrond. But I'm very pleased to say that I have got hold of the Saruman, because I love the Saruman and I think it looks amazing. And I think that, like, I mean, I really like the Saruman pose where he's like holding his staff and he's shooting it out. Like, that's a really good pose. It's like the White Council one that's currently sold out on the website, I think. I really like that pose, but I think this new one might possibly be my favourite Saruman pose, or action pose. Very, very, very good. And I have one, thanks to 3 of us buying the box and all of us wanting one of the models, so I'm looking forward to receiving that. Thanks very much for your question, Dominic. Good luck with the White Council. Next up we got Christian Syrup Jensen. Hey guys, welcome to the second round. Oh no, is this... Oh no. Okay. Christian Syrup Jensen. Hey guys, welcome to the second round of Middle-earth Madness. This is his quiz for us to test our Middle-earth knowledge. Okay, no pressure. The game where your Middle-earth knowledge is put to the test. As neither of you were able to answer last week's question correct without any aid, I think you'll find that I answered it correct. It was Jamie who was looking it up. The first person to answer the question correctly gets the point. Well, I'm going to win here, aren't I? This week's question is, what is the name of the great river in which the One Ring slipped from Isildur's finger? The Anduin? Anduin at Gladden Fields, is that right? I hope so. That's the one river that's coming into my mind right now. I do know several Middle-earth rivers, but that's the one that's coming into my mind. So hopefully I got that right, and I get a point by default because Jamie's not here. Next up we've got Larry Miller. He's put, oh hi Larry, by the way. He's put, in your opinion, what would you say is the army you enjoy facing the most? Regularly facing the most? Well, from a competitive point of view, like, I really like coming up against dwarves. I say that though, you know, Owen Wright has smashed me with dwarves a couple of times. With Dwalin on pony, just cutting my stuff up to pieces. But I've always had quite a lot of success against the dwarves. What do I enjoy coming up with the most? Well, I mostly play as Rohan. I do really like coming up against like Steve. I like playing against Steve's armies. Not being horrible, but like I like playing against his armies. So like his fiefdom army or his Gondor army, because it feels a little bit more like you're having a battle. And that you are able to therefore test your sort of tactical nous against it like you would in a battle, rather than it being a game of sort of how to win the objectives or you know, like, or being a game about sixes, like when you're playing against all hero. A lot of people don't like playing against all hero, and I can see why. I like playing as it. I think people like playing as all hero. But playing against it, I can see why people get frustrated. So yeah, like proper armies, and I like playing against some of the good armies because they seem like there's less sort of power in them, if that makes sense. There's less things which are pretty nasty combinations. So yeah, I would say that would be my answer. Playing against sort of proper armies, like some of Steve's, like his Arnor army or his fiefdoms or his Gondor, stuff like that. It's really cool. Next up we've got Camille Demansky, and he's put, hi guys, quick question to keep you busy. Saruman casting Sorcerer's Blast to a model who's above him. I rolled a 6 for distance, and which direction does the target model fly? Up and take falling damage or normal way? Take care and you'll never walk alone. Wow, that's not a question that I'm going to be able to answer. I've got no idea. Well, it does say that you go back in a straight line, but I don't think you can make a model lift off of the... I don't think that that's a mechanic in the game. So I would say that it would go... I would say it would go the normal way. That's my answer. I've got no idea. But thanks Camille, and hopefully see you in April at Desolation Stockport. Get your ticket bought. Next up we've got Left Winger 84. He's put, g'day from Australia. First speak friend in question. You're in the loop, you know what to do, pal. In a game I was playing the other day, Aragorn was standing by a wall approximately half his height. He was then charged by a warrior and a spear support through the barrier, and then charged from around the barrier. I chose to call a heroic combat with Aragorn in a normal fight, and won and killed the opponent, but was still left with the warriors over the barrier. But what then? Can I move away? Do I have to then fight the other one, and therefore I wasted a heroic combat, as I am still in combat? Thanks. That's a really good question. Okay, so there's a barrier. You're at the barrier. You get charged by somebody on the other side of the barrier, which would mean, of course, you fight that, and they've got a spear support. Okay, spear support doesn't. Let's not worry about that. Okay, so he's there. Now the fact that if someone else sort of was charging you from the barrier, then you would fight them individually. That's one of the advantages of having a barrier. You wouldn't fight them both at the same time, so it's 2 separate fights. But then you got charged from around the side of the barrier. Okay, and you're called a heroic combat, but you are in combat with the 2 then at the same time, because when something comes around the barrier, you no longer have to fight them one at a time. The barrier effectively isn't there because someone has managed to get round. So I would say that if you didn't manage to kill the one at the barrier, the guy at the barrier backs away from the wall, and therefore, because you didn't kill him, you don't get to continue heroic combat. You don't fight them one at a time once someone has come around the barrier. So that's my answer, and I'm pretty sure I've got that correct. So yes, you will have wasted the heroic combat. Okay, next up we've got Rushek. He's put, "Hey guys, it's been a while since I've asked a question, and I apologise." Rightly so. I might have to plug this in a second. In fact, let's do that now while we're talking. It's been a while since I asked the question, and I apologise. As I, and I'm sure there are many others, are in the US, I was curious if you could do a showcase video of your armies. I've seen Damien's, as he does a lot of battle reports at his house, but I've not seen anyone else's main armies. In fact, I don't even know what Jamie or Tom's main armies are. Thanks, and keep up the good work. I'm loving all the content you guys put out. Rushek, are you for real? Are you really referring to the fact that you've seen a lot of Damien's armies? Because I'm not sure where you would have seen lots of them. Strategy Battle Gamers, it is now Monday evening, and unfortunately, if you were watching the previous hour and a half, then you'll know that I started filming this on Saturday evening, hopefully ready for Sunday, and unfortunately, while I was reaching to get the power cable for the camera, as you will have noticed, it died. And the problem with that situation is that it has to wait to be fully charged up once it dies for you to turn it back on. So it's not a case of like plugging it in, you turn it on and it relies off of the plug power. So unfortunately, Speak Friendly Question is coming up very late, and I had worked so hard to get it out to you on the Saturday evening / Sunday morning. But unfortunately, these things can't be helped. We're not a professional outfit, so I've been looking back over and trying to remember where I was up to, and I'm sure we had Rushek, who was asking about showcasing armies, and he said that he likes Damien's army showcases, but I don't think we've seen any army showcases from Damien. Most of the army showcases, I believe, have been from me. But I agree, it would be great for the guys to do little showcases, especially Tom. Tom's got a really good, nice little collection. Damien has as well. I think it'd be really good for Jamie to do, and I think they're really relatively straightforward videos to put up, and they've proven incredibly popular. And of course, I've done one for the Grey Company, for my Wanderers of the Wild. Who else did I do it for? I think I did one for Jay's High Elves. I'm planning to do one for my High Elves. I'm also going to do one for Rohan at some point, obviously my main army. And when I get some of my evil stuff back from Matty Davies, who's Generation Shift, he's putting together my Angmar army at the moment. Then we'll showcase that one. But yeah, I agree. I think it'd be really good for the other guys to do it. But in the meantime, if you want to see a really good spread of armies, then do go and check out all of the battle reports, because then you've not only got the host armies, you've also got the armies of the Strategy Battle Gaming community, which is obviously very cool. So next up, I believe we have Awesome Wargaming. Oh no, we haven't. We've got Avatar of Odin. Sorry, Avatar of Odin. He's put, couldn't come up with an SBG related question this time, but I do, of course, have to ask something. Well, this is true because you're in the loop and you understand how this thing works. Seeing how my previous question was answered. Oh right, yeah. So you're basically saying, yeah, you're in the loop. Yes, you are. So which of the Dad's Armies characters are your favourites? Well, there are some very good ones, aren't there? You know. I love all of them. I think Corporal Jones is a very good character, very lovable character, isn't he? You know, you can't help but like Jones. At the same time, you know, Sergeant Wilson, he's funny. Fraser, Pike, all of them. I think that they're all really good. But yeah, maybe Corporal Jones, I think, was my favourite growing up. So thank you very much, Avatar Odin, and well done for fulfilling your loop obligations, even if it wasn't an SBG question. Okay, so next up we've got Awesome Wargaming. He's put, hi guys, my question is, what do you think about the War of the Ring? Have you ever played it? Also, what do you think about using Wood Elves and Galadrim with the Hobbit Mirkwood Elves? Well, let's start off with the first part. War of the Ring, I have never played it. I believe Jamie has. And we have had this question quite a lot. And I believe that will we play War of the Ring is a speak friend and question, frequently asked question, and as such we did a video for it. So if you go and check out that video, you should have our answer about why we probably won't be doing War of the Ring on the channel, and also some of the opinions that have come back from it. So a lot of people say that War of the Ring was a trial for Warhammer 6th edition or 7th edition or something, and they used it to sort of trial that. And therefore, because it's a system which hasn't had any sort of like updates or codexes or anything, there are a lot of sort of broken loopholes and broken combinations. And I understand that a few people really like it, but it's a game that could be broken very, very easily. That is my understanding of it, but I haven't played, and who knows, maybe we will get a chance to play it at some point on the channel. We might do that. And in terms of putting Wood Elves and Galadrim with the Hobbit Mirkwood Elves, yeah, why not? As long as you've got the correct leaders from the correct army list leading the warband and you're not mixing the warbands, then why not? I think that the new the Mirkwood Elves are, I think, a very strong list actually. I think we'll see them a lot. They've got good heroes, good solid heroes, decent, cheapish sort of men of the line, boots to the ground, infantry that are quite versatile. So I think we'll see a few of them out there, and it wouldn't surprise me, you know, when people say things like, do you think that these fine cast blisters are going to become, you know, will we ever get a plastic box set? I think that if any were going to become a plastic box set, I would think that it would be these elves, because I can see them being incredibly popular, and elves do seem to be very popular actually out there. You know, videos that have the elves in seem to be incredibly popular, and lots of people ask for them. So yeah, in terms of mixing them up, why not? Wood Elves are competitive, Galadrim are reasonably competitive, and Mirkwood Elves are competitive. So combining the three together, I'm sure it could work. You'd get the best of all three. So thank you very much all from Awesome Wargaming. Next up we've got Matthew Ridgely. He's put, hey guys, thanks for answering my question last week about forming a league. I've emailed a lot of people around New Zealand and the response has been great. Fantastic news. That's exactly what we like to hear. We're well underway to have a national league. Well, I hope that the flag for your league, you know, is a nice little mugshot of Jamie maybe, and you know, maybe me next to him, and you know, with our thumbs up, you know, since it's been a motivation. No, seriously, we want to we want everybody to sort of get out there and continue to support the Hobbit hobby and get out there and spread the word. So it's really good news that you're doing that, and we want to hear about the progress as well. And if you need help with anything, let us know. There are lots of guys in the Great British Hobbit League Facebook page who can give you some assistance. All of the tournament organisers and everything that made up the Great British Hobbit League, and really good people to ask. I mean, I joked before about sort of me and Jamie on the YouTube channel, that's it. But in terms of the Great British Hobbit League itself, it's, you know, it was Mikolaj who started that, and Tom Harrison's running that now, so, and it's something separate from the channel. So ask those guys, they'll be able to give you some really good advice. Your question this week is, what makes a successful tournament, and do you have any tips on running a good one? Thanks again, guys. Okay, what makes a successful tournament? Well, a good venue. And a good venue is a nice start. So being able to play on the right size kind of tables, and there being nice terrain. So that's always a good start, and there being enough space in the venue, and things like having access to drinks and cups of tea and all that kind of stuff can be very, very, very helpful. A good rules pack can be helpful as well. You know, it's important that you have a good think about which scenarios you're using, and you know how that's going to work at different points limits. Having some good prizes, and not just your first, second and third prizes, but also thinking about encouraging hobby sides, so you know, your best painted or best armies, even doing fun things like spot prizes. The odd custom scenario can work quite well because it makes the tournament very different. A lot of people like having them thrown in, especially early on in a tournament. That can be a good thing. Trying to make sure that there is an element of social to it in the evening is a good bit of advice. So trying to make sure that you book somewhere that you can all have a meal together and you go out and have drinks and that kind of thing. That can all be very helpful. And also sort of a really kind of relaxed attitude on the day. I think the most fun tournaments that I've been to have been the ones that have been, you know, the most relaxed. You know, as tournament organisers, you're there to kind of, I think, just sort of open the pens and to let the herds just go through rather than going behind and whipping people. So try to make sure that you've got the correct amount of space between games and you've not got too long a game or too short a game for your points value. That's a key consideration. So yeah, a few little ideas there for you to play with. I hope that helps. Again, there's lots of other TOs out there, so feel free to ask that on the Facebook group and I'll be able to help. But thank you very much for your question. So next up we've got Dave Egan, and he's put, I'm probably too late posting this. Well, you would have been, because if you don't post before Thursday, Jamie and I will be meeting up this Thursday, unless something comes up, some unforeseen circumstance, then you won't have your question answered, and it's best holding off because we don't go back and see any that we've unanswered. But on this occasion, since this is coming out on Monday evening, since we've been really busy, then obviously we've got these last few questions. But I always think of what I'll say for the next Speak Friendly question when I'm out and about and nowhere near a computer, and then forget it by the time I get home. Anyway, James, I passed my interview and medical for the Royal Marines on the 12th of February. Well done, buddy. Good work. That's exactly what I like to hear. He's put, my careers officer told me he'd be in contact 6 weeks after medical to arrange for me to stay overnight in the barracks and do the pre-joining fitness test the following morning. I'll perform 2 1.5 mile runs and then press-ups, sit-ups and pull-ups assessments. The run I have to pass in order to continue moving forward with the application. The press-ups, sit-ups and pull-ups aren't a pass or fail, but it would, of course, be good to do them as well. Yeah, the 2 1.5 mile runs, I believe you do a squatted run for 1.5 miles, and then the next bit is your best effort, and you should be fine with that. I mean, if I remember rightly, infantry you've got under 10.5 minutes to do a 1.5 miles, and you should do that. So as long as you're doing your fitness and you execute your plan. So good luck with that, buddy. And you've also put in other news, I organised a small 500 points SBG tournament in my local games workshop on the 21st of February. Well done, that's what we like to hear. I believe there will be 10 to 12 in total participating. I'm bringing Thorin, Dwalin, Barlin and 26 Erebor warriors. I'll let you know how it goes. Well, that's what we like to hear, matey. I'll try and think of a very long post again for next week and make Jamie read it. That's what we like to hear, Dave. You're doing all the right things, supporting your Hobbit hobby. Okay, so we've got 3 more questions. All of these were posted after the normal deadline. Do remember, if you're asking questions to Speak Friendly Question, that you ask them on the Thursday, before you want them read out. We've got Wang11. He's got, hi, thank you for answering my last question. It's a pleasure. My question this week is that I've just bought a mounted armoured Faramir, but can't seem to find his profile anywhere. Also, do you think he is a good model to play with? Thanks. Okay, well, the mounted armoured Faramir model, his profile is part of, I think I know what you're talking about, but his profile is in the Kingdoms of Men, and it's Faramir, Captain of Ithilien, but the armoured sort of with lance and armoured horse and everything like that that's war gear that he can take, so that's the model to represent that. Now, I do believe that there was another Faramir profile that was part of a White Dwarf a long time ago. But for what you're referring to, you are referring to Captain of Ithilien with all of his gear, lance, shield, heavy armour and all of that, and that is in the Kingdoms of Men Gondor section. So you've not been looking very hard, in my opinion. And in terms of being a good model to play with, yeah, Faramir is good. He's a good mid-level points hero that can have a good effect on the battlefield. A good leader at sort of 600 points and less. When you start going above that, you might think about bringing along your Boromir instead. But yeah, he's pretty good. He's a solid profile, I would say. Thanks very much for that, Wang11. Next up we've got Harry Taylor. He's like, hi guys, I was wondering what would be the best way to get into the tournament scene, as I've been interested for a while but never got around to going to one. Cheers. The best way is, of course, just to turn up. If if you want to come down to the Desolation of Stockport 2015. It's at the end of April. You can buy your tickets. Best thing to do is go onto the Great British Hobbit League Facebook group if you want to get into a tournament, and have a little look in the events tab, and there are tons of events that are going on all across the country. Of course, we personally would love you to attend our one, which is at the end of April, and it's £30 for a ticket, and it's 600 points, and there are 7 games across the 2 days. Lots and lots of prizes, lots of fun planned, so it'd be really good if you can make it. That's the best way to get into the tournament scene, is just to turn up, and you will be looked after. Don't feel like you'll be on the outside of anything at all. There are lots of people who are taking responsibility for bringing the community together, and hopefully no cliques developing in any areas, and everyone's been very inclusive, so you'll be well looked after, buddy, I'm pretty sure. Thanks very much for that, Harry, and hopefully we'll see you at a tournament soon. And the final question that I've got here, my question for the next Speak Friendly question: when you first got into Lord of the Rings SBG, which armies immediately caught your eye? Well, mine was Grey Company. That was the one that caught my eye, that I thought, right, I'm going to get that one. And you can see that in the Grey Company Army Showcase video if you want to go check that out. And I believe Jamie got some dwarves, those were his first troops. I believe he only had a few paints, he painted the beard silver and all sorts, so I'm sure those are the 2 armies that sort of caught our eyes, although I'd always been pretty keen on Rohan and try and put together an all-mounted Rohan force. So that is the end of Speak Friendly Questions. So sorry that it's come out a lot later than planned. I did try and get it done on the Saturday night. I'm sorry that I'm on my own again, but next week it will be different. Me and Jamie are together on Thursday, so you will have your double act again. I hope you didn't mind that. Make sure you ask your questions in the comment section below. Make sure you do that before Thursday, because that's likely when we will be answering those questions. And as always, don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe. Support your Hobbit hobby. Follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And as always, team, happy strategy battle gaming.